Okay, so we had a little blip over here. So
okay, we got through it.
We got through it. So it's finally here. Can you believe it?
Happy Tuesday!
Happy Tuesday, and it's the LGBTQ plus show, and I'm so excited because we've got the best guests in the whole wide world. Pride Month. This is the end of Pride Month.
It is.
Did you know that Pride Month in Europe is in February?
Wow. Is there a reason why, or just because they want it to be?
Well, there's probably a reason. I just didn't look it up.
Sure.
So, but I saw that when I was doing the, we're going to give them a second. We've got people jumping on over here. We still have a few to jump on over here.
Well, while we're waiting for people, I guess we can give our new people like a little rundown. Today's going to be nothing different than it is every single Tuesday.
Yep.
Except for today, you're going to have two more mouths to listen to.
Yep.
And they're going to be spitting facts.
Yep.
And they're going to be talking about some things that they've also experienced throughout their lifetime.
Yep.
And also, we're going to be talking about some influences that we have ourselves that are a part of the LGBTQ and what they did to influence our community.
So we have, we're going to talk about some people in the LGBTQ society that some of them are gone now, but they made advancements and they did things that help advance the entire world, not just the LGBTQ community, but the entire world.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, you know, we may have not won World War II if it wasn't for one.
Honestly, literally.
Yeah. Well, you never know. Things could have been differently.
Did you know about 76% of our veterans are a part of the LGBTQ?
No, but it doesn't surprise me. So we're going to be talking about some surprises, I think, and then some sad things like the Upstairs Lounge, but we'll get to that. But first, let me tell you about two of our guests. One of them, which is, and as I call them, they'll come up. One of them is Lisa Ross. Yay! So Lisa Ross here. Let me get over here. So Lisa Ross. Ooh, no, not there. I just looked pregnant. Okay, so as I'm knocking everything over, so Lisa Ross is she has been working with the LGBTQ community
and it's Jason's bestie.
For how long?
Working with the community.
Yeah, like just being a supporter, being somebody who.
Well, I've been
who
in
just
LA
loves
for
it.
most of my adult life, and I'm not going to tell you how long that is, because I need to guess how old I am. But let's say over 20 years.
Over 20 years.
I have actively been volunteering since 2009 with organizations, including Affirmations.
And you don't mind me asking, but you're not gay yourself, right? Or are you? If you don't mind. You don't have to answer if you don't want to.
I identify as pansexual.
Pansexual. Very good. Explain that to me.
So it's not about parts, it's about what's here and what's
Exactly.
here.
Love
And
that. Fluidity.
energy. I'm attracted to a certain kind of energy.
Very good. And that is awesome because you do not have to be gay to be an ally. You don't, people. You
just
don't.
have to be a good person.
You have to have empathy and you have to love people for who
Be a
they
good
are,
person.
not for what they do. So our second guest, and then we're going to all talk, is Maria. Maria, how do you say your last name again?
Palomino.
Palomino. So Maria here, I've known for a long time, and actually is the mom of one of my employees. And she is from Spain, and she's going to talk to us a little bit about how it differs from here. And it's exciting, but she does live here now.
I've been living here for over 20 years.
Over 20 years. But when she told me that she was going to talk a little bit about Spain and Spain's LGBTQ, so I did a little research because I didn't want to look, like, oh, I don't know. I want to move to Spain now. Well, I've always wanted to move to Spain, but for different reasons.
Right.
But now it just validates it for
money.
you.
But my mom's watching. She's probably like, click.
She literally just joined too.
Oh, did she?
Yeah. Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom. So we have Maria Palomino and Lisa Ross, and I'm so happy that you guys. Thank you so much for joining.
Yes,
you're
you're
welcome.
And I'm excited about it. And then of course us.
Not the of course us.
So, anyways, I'm so excited. Wow, we're jumping. So, can you hand me my paper? Oh, it's not over there.
Oh,
all right.
it's right here.
It's right here.
It's okay. You're gonna see us do this like 100 times
Right.
today.
Yeah.
I watch.
You watch. Yep. So, we're not scripted. It was very laid back. I don't even have a chair.
Do you want us to get you a chair, Jason?
No, because then I would have to sit
You
here.
can sit right here in front of me.
Oh, I think I'm good here. I should have moved it. Oh, you know what? I'll move this. And I can back up a little bit. There we go. Okay, look. Now you guys can see me a little bit, right?
Perfect.
Hello. You don't need to look at me anyways. So tell me, what brought you, Lisa, to be such an ally?
Because I believe that everyone should feel comfortable enough to live their authentic, to be their authentic self.
I love that. And that's the whole point, because being authentic is going to, and you know what, I didn't learn this till older in life. And that's, kids, I'm going to tell you, you're not going to learn it till you're older in life. Until then, you're going to want to fit in. And, but being authentic in life, and I know it's hard to come out of the closet. I am fortunate. I never went in the closet. As soon as I knew the difference, I was like,
this is it.
you know. So, but and I was always open about it. But growing up in Southern California, it's a more open society there than it is more in the Midwest. Did you find being an ally in the Midwest was a little bit more difficult?
No, because I don't know anything else.
Okay.
I've lived in Michigan most of my life with a little 6-year jaunt into Ohio that we won't really talk about. But
that's okay. I don't talk about Ohio either.
No, and actually, what I found more so than anything was the LGBTQ community it felt more accepting of me. So I was able, by hanging with people and letting them be their authentic selves, I was more comfortable to be my authentic self.
See, I love that, and I think that's the important step we need to tell kids.
Because you want to know why being your true authentic self will draw nothing but your true authentic vibes and friends and people that truly love and care about you to be in your inner circle. If you're putting on some big persona about being a different person, you're only going to attract those types of people.
You're not going to find your weirdos.
Exactly.
No.
You're not going to find the weirdos who fit in with you.
Yeah. And to me, I would rather hang out with a bunch of weirdos.
Me too. It's more
because,
fun.
well, not only that, you learn.
For sure.
And I think that in a society where everybody's the same, it's boring. Why leave? Why go anywhere, right?
Yes.
I think a society where there's multiple everybody.
Literally.
You know, I don't know how to say it correctly so that I cover
Demographic
all.
of people.
Demographic of people. It's much more entertaining.
Yes.
How do you,
There are better stories.
better stories.
And
Did
better
you bring
music
something to
taste,
talk about?
and better
Did
outfits,
you
and
pick
better.
something to talk about? I didn't even ask you. Did you pick something to talk about?
Did I pick something
Yeah,
to talk
a
about?
topic of.
What do you
I
mean?
didn't. No. Well, because she was going to do Spain and I was going to do these.
Oh, no.
I didn't know if you had
No.
anyone, but
No.
because of the fact that you love everybody.
Well, I'll tell you who inspires
Yes,
me the
please.
most. I had the most fun working with the youth at Affirmations.
Oh.
It was just to watch younger folks be able to be their authentic selves and to do. They had a prom one year, and the staff asked me to make a chocolate fountain, and to see these exuberant children and young folks in, like boys in prom dresses, girls in tuxes, and just wearing whatever they felt comfortable in, having a ball at the chocolate fountain. That pure joy is just so inspiring, and it sparks something in me that I just want to spread it more.
So, what do you say when you have somebody who says that, like, if you had a child come to you and say, I can't be who I am because my parents don't want me to, I can't wear,
Express myself.
They can't express myself correctly. So I can't wear. Ooh, I don't want to block the screen. I can't wear a dress to school, or I can't. I get yelled at if I try on my mom's shoes, or something like that. How do you talk to somebody like that? What do you say to them? Because even as a gay man myself, it would be difficult for me to come up with the right words.
Well, first and foremost, I ask if they want a hug.
Oh, that's the best thing.
Always. And then just really, my thing is how can I support you? What can I do? Because I'm not your parent.
Right.
I'm not going to tell you just forget what they say
No,
because
of
they're your
course.
parents. But, that's why a place like Affirmations, which if people don't know, Affirmations is an LGBTQ community center in
Ferndale, right?
Ferndale. I believe they still do, I hope they still do, have lockers for people who can't be their authentic selves until they come to the center.
That is awesome.
That's
I didn't
amazing.
know
That's
that.
honestly really cool.
Yeah.
Because, like, imagine if somebody just had something super sentimental to them, that, like, a blouse, or maybe it's a pair of, like, shoes or socks, or maybe some type of accessory that, like, could get ruined or thrown out at home. That is honestly such a really good idea. I really hope they do that still.
So Affirmations is in Ferndale, you guys. So and I believe
I was gonna ask
Affirmations
that.
has counseling.
They do offer counseling
They do offer
services.
counseling and just different activities.
They do. They're actually getting back into the swing of things. Like they've had
After
their wine
2020.
party at the center. They're because for a while they were all virtual.
Oh, okay.
And they do offer. There are support groups, and I believe that some of them are starting to meet back at the center. But www.goaffirmations.org if you're looking for them.
And
So
I've
do-
been there a few times.
I do have a question for some of our viewers who possibly are interested in visiting Affirmations or maybe even possibly using some of their resources on their website. Is that something that would include the prices of some of these services, or is this kind of like a PP type thing where you guys go based off of donations?
It's sliding scale.
Okay.
The counseling services they offer are sliding scale, and I think I'm fairly certain that they still are. The support groups are donation based, and
Okay.
it's whatever you can afford.
Okay, for sure. Awesome.
You know, it's really important that there's some place that people have to go.
Absolutely.
And that there are people like Maria and like Lisa and even myself and Jasmine here and a lot of people I know to help express themselves, to help be able to talk. Because sometimes it can just be talking that allows them to feel better about it. Because some of the statistics I came up with was 42% of the people who are LGBT report living in an unwelcome environment. So 42, almost half of all of them. And those are the ones that are telling this.
Still, it makes me
Imagine
sad.
all the people who
It
are
does.
not.
It does. And when you're a child, you're going through stuff. I don't care what people think. I had a traumatic event happen to me when I was a kid. And just as coming out to a parent, to a loved one, and them disowning you, it's the same type of trauma. And kids can fold into themselves and make decisions that are permanent. And I think it's important that we have more shows like this where we talk about this type of thing.
And if I could touch base on the last thing that you did say, and I would like to say this to all of our viewers, no matter if you are super young or if you are a part of the older community as well, don't ever make a permanent decision on a temporary thought.
No.
Because it is...
There's always tomorrow.
For sure, absolutely. And it might suck waiting those long hours out, but call one of your friends up. Maybe take a little drive by yourself, eat the food that makes you happy, take care of yourself, take a shower, eat some good food, and rest.
Yeah, because 80% of gay and lesbian youth report severe social isolation.
And imagine
That's
how that could affect
80%.
a child growing up.
Think
into
about your kids, you
adulthood,
guys.
for sure.
That's 80% of the kids. So, if there's 100 kids, that's 80 of them.
Yeah.
That's 80 of them right there. Report isolation. We love our children. Unconditionally, we love our
Lovely.
children.
Yeah.
And so, if they're going through a hard time, talk to them. If you don't agree with what they're doing, that doesn't mean you don't love them, and make sure that just because you don't agree with it doesn't mean that they have are wrong. You still love them. So I'm losing people as I talk, so I don't care. So, but I hope you guys are listening, and we will get into the fun stuff. But this is scary stuff. 80%, and it kills me. Okay, can you tell I'm passionate? Because as a gay man, I went through this. I saw my friends go through this.
No, for sure.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Gay, lesbian, and I know I always hear from people, oh, it's easier when you're a lesbian because guys do blah, blah, blah. No, it's not.
It's honestly just as worse, if not even worse, because guys just think that if you are lesbian or bi and you like another woman, that's what they want to see all the time.
Right. Also, parents, if you, and you probably have seen this at Affirmations, if you are open to the idea and that you, whether you agree or not, but you love your child enough that you want them to tell you and you will love and support them, 90% of all teens who are LGBT come out to their friends.
First, absolutely.
So if you are close to your child and you are close to their friends and you are fine with them being gay, mention it around their friends. Oh, I'm fine with that. I wish he'd come out to me.
Or also, maybe...
Because that'll go back to your child.
Or also,
It
if
will.
maybe you have a child who isn't really comfortable telling you something just yet, maybe they're just not comfortable telling you just yet.
Right. It
And
could
maybe
happen
you
in a
just
year.
throw a couple almonds out and
Yeah.
just kind of let them know that, like, hey, I am comfortable with your decision, and it's okay to let me know about that, because if they don't know that you're comfortable with it, or that you're not going to be mad at them or hate them for that decision, then they're never going to tell you. Of course, they're going to tell their friends first.
But I'm going to tell you that also 90% of the people who came out to their family and got a warm reception for it feel 100% lighter, meaning that they have a weight off their shoulders. So, see, this, I'm so happy that you brought that up, because that's the scary part, is when you have somebody who, and I've seen this close by, who they feel like they're running into walls because they have nowhere to turn.
Is Affirmations open 7 days a week?
They're closed on Sundays.
Okay, noted for our viewers who would like to use those
Just go
resources.
www.affirmations.com, right?
.org.
.org, affirmations.org. So please go on there and check.
And if you Google Go Affirmations, they pop up first. So.
Oh, do they? Oh, perfect. I'm glad they actually pay for that. Because you have to pay for that. That's awesome. So, so moving on, let's talk a little bit about American society, and then we'll go to Spain.
Yes.
Okay, let's go to
Okay.
Also, are you ladies chilly this?
It is pretty cold.
This
Oh,
year's
well,
been.
can you turn it off?
Yeah, of course.
Go over here.
Oh, you want me to go this way? Okay.
Well, this is the one. It's this one that's.
I was gonna come around. So
Oh, I see what you're saying. It's this one, because they're right there and going down on you. Okay, so let me get out of the way here. I'm going to move this down a little bit. And first of all, I got to tell you, you've got RuPaul's Chia Pet. Do you
Yes,
see?
you do.
Look at RuPaul's Chia Pet. It probably would have sold better if it had pink hair.
Probably.
Or the hair changed color. How fun would that be? But anyways, we decided to put a couple of posters up behind. Victor Victoria was a great movie based on he, she, with Julie Andrews. And this movie came out in probably the early to mid 70s. Oh, it might have been in the early 80s, actually.
Okay.
Anyways, and it was Julie Andrews pretending to be a man, pretending to be a woman, pretending to be a man. It was hilarious. But it was also written by the same people who wrote La Cage aux Folles, which is pretty cool. And if those of you who don't know, Birdcage, watch it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then Olivia Newton-John, Cher, and Madonna, because they're all gay icons, of course. And so let's talk about Christine Jorgensen,
Okay.
shall we? Are you all aware of who she is?
Yep.
Okay, so I say she, Christine Jorgensen, and I wish I still had the poster. We had the poster for
Oh.
the movie, but of course it's sold.
Of course it did.
Christine Jorgensen was the very first male to female sex reassignment surgery for American. She had to go to Germany to have it done because we did not perform the surgeries here. She was an active GI member, and when she went over, and she came back as a woman, and they had to discharge her honorably due to the fact that they didn't have women in the military. But this is what gets me. 1954, right? And you have Jorgensen going over to Germany to go from, I forgot his male name, and I don't remember what it was, but it came back Christine. And she actually got a standing ovation and was celebrated when she returned to the United States. George, thank you. And she was celebrated when she returned to the United States. Where did we go wrong?
Everywhere.
Honestly.
Never.
Well, I can name a few people, but the thing is if we're going to, because sex reassignment surgery, transgender, today, was celebrated so profusely back then when she returned because it was something new. How did it go so bad, I wonder? I mean, I know how it went bad, but it just, humans drive me nuts sometimes.
When good things get too
So,
popular too
Christine
quickly, it's
Jorgensen, there is a movie, please look and see. It's a movie. She is the very first transgender, and she was celebrated. And every transgender, in my mind, should be celebrated, because then you become who you are. Now,
To
granted,
live authentically.
right, you become who you are. Because I think medically we're all born women, or we're all initially
Yes.
female.
Yeah.
That is correct.
And then it comes out and
Everything
goes
is
there.
Kind of like androgynous.
Yeah, or
Like
androgynous.
the parts that the
Yeah.
parts can go either way.
It can go either way.
It depends on the
Right, and sometimes it goes both
Hormones.
ways.
And this is a hard pill for some people to really
It is a
swallow
hard
for
pill.
sure, but
Because
it's true.
when it comes to children and transgender, you know, it's a split. It's a very controversial issue. because my big belief, and I'm going to come out and say it, is that you teach your child to love who they are, because no matter what they move or remove, they're still going to feel the same about who they are inside. So once you teach the child to love who they are, regardless of what they look like, then you go the next step in my mind. Now that can happen at 10, that can happen at 15, that can happen at whatever age, but I don't want to lose that step of making the person, or teaching the child how to love who they are. And in order to do that, in my mind, be open to what they want. How do you guys feel about it?
I don't have children.
I don't either.
So I can't imagine. I know that you probably mourn, like if you have a son who really is not a boy,
Right.
but is a girl, you're going to mourn all the things you wanted for your son.
Of course you are.
I just wish people would find a way to celebrate, yes, let's mourn who you were,
Right.
but then let's celebrate who you are.
Right. You have kids.
I have kids, and I have friends of my kids. They are transgender, and being supportive. And I understand, as a parent, I probably would have been not uncomfortable, but concerned, confused,
Right.
wanting my child. But that doesn't mean that you cannot love them and grow together, because I assuming that when you're going through some kind of, you are transgender, you have concerns, you have questions, you have to learn,
Of
you have
course.
to grow in the world. So why not to do it together? As a parent, these are your concerns, these are mine, let's grow together in this new us and be authentic and be loving. And it is a thing that if you do it with love,
Right.
those questions and concerns should not be an issue, should be used something that we need to learn together.
Oh, I agree 100%. Were you going to say something?
Yeah, I don't obviously have kids, but I feel like my personal thing, regardless of that, I could honestly use this for my friends too that are a part of the LGBTQ. It's not that I'm worried for them, not that they can't handle themselves, but I guess I'm more worried about that the love that I have for them is not being perceived to them enough. I just want my friends to be safe. If you guys are going downtown, if you guys are going to Pride, if you guys are going to Boogie Fever, which is a predominantly gay club in downtown Ferndale, just be safe, because not everybody is a nice person. And I just feel like the love that I have for my friends and my allies that are a part of the LGBTQ, I feel like I'm just mostly worried about my love not being perceived enough to them for that.
I just don't want, so one of the things that concerns me when it comes to that, and I don't have kids either, but I have friends who are transgender. I have, I grew up in the 80s when a lot of people looked at being gay as a fad. It's not, clearly. Either that or I'm still in a fad for the rest of my life.
I mean, it can be, but
I guess it
not
can
always.
be.
Putting up a really good
But
persona.
honestly, kids, parents, think about it. Your child goes in, you catch them walking in your mom's in your shoes. That doesn't mean they want to be a woman. First of all,
Maybe
understand
it's
that.
taller.
So those of you who are jumping the gun, you need to really pay attention to your child and not think because, oh, look, a pair of shoes. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. You need to pay attention to your child, and if you start thinking, in my mind, and you tell me if I'm wrong, if you start thinking just because your son wants to wear a dress to school or wants to wear a pair of shoes, that all of a sudden he wants to be a woman, no, not necessarily. Because I did that, and I am happy I'm not a woman. But those are the parents that need to pay more attention to their children.
I will wear high heels, and
Right.
I am a woman.
Because you're taking signs out of context. And you need to really pay attention to how they talk, what they say, what things more than just that.
Right.
Do you agree? Do you guys agree?
I agree.
You're a product of your environment. So
Yeah.
if you are a boy who grew up with 5 sisters, you're for sure probably going to be a little bit more curious about the fashion, the
Right.
makeup, the music taste. You're around it 24/7, especially if your parental guidance is your mom. And you also have multiple sisters. Not to say that you don't have influence from your outside friends and your school life, but that's what you wake up to. You go home to that. So I don't feel like I agree with you 100%. Like, I have 5 brothers. I always wore boy clothes. I was covered in dirt, eating bugs, rolling around in the mud. But my parents never jumped the gun and just immediately, thought I was gonna
But my concern is the parents need to look at all the signs.
For sure.
They need to, like, let's flip the coin on that. Because if you sit there and your child is constantly, you see them wandering into the girls' department. You see them, they're not blatant, but you have to pay attention. These are your children.
You could just ask.
You know what I mean?
Kids are honest.
Well, I'm talking when they're like 6, 7, 8,
Oh, for
9.
sure.
You know what I mean? You pay attention to them. Well, you can ask at 6, 7, 8, 9 anything, and you may or may not get the right answer.
Right.
True.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But I think for someone who is transgender, I mean, I know of people who one in particular, I didn't ask anybody, so I'm not going to say any names. Someone who's in the community, they told their parents at age 5, I'm not in the right body.
And
their parents said, never talk about that again.
no, that's wrong.
So that's,
That's wrong.
It's the messages that you get.
Right. You
That
have to,
you're
you cannot, first of all, that, I wish they would stop doing that. Because nothing your kid says is wrong, especially at 5.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you start doing that, you're instituting, what do they call racism? The word I'm looking for?
I know. I'm also. It's like in front of my face.
Not
Systematic.
systematic. Systematic. That's instituting systematic hate. Mm-hmm. Because when you automatically tell a 5-year-old child
Who doesn't know any better,
when they say to you that I don't feel like I'm in the right body, and you immediately go with a negative and say, "Don't you say that," you're instituting hate. Because now that child's going to remember that intense reaction at 5 years old.
In today, I mean, maybe in the 60s or the 70s, parents may not have a place to go get the answers. Today, that is not an excuse. You just talk about affirmations. If your child has questions that you don't know how to answer, your child brings a conversation that you don't know how to answer, you can find people that can guide you to help them. And it is no shame.
No, and we're not talking about expensive psychologists or psychiatrists. We're talking about people.
Reaching out to those.
Reaching out to people.
And honestly, with it being 2023, I'm like almost certain that there is some type of support group for parents, mothers, fathers who just need some type of guidance because maybe they are 100% okay with their child being a part of the LGBTQ, but they don't know how to appropriately
educate yourself.
Approach that.
One of the biggest problems with systematic hate, systematic racism, systematic anything is the lack of education in my mind. Because if you're a parent of a child who wants to, who says, I do not feel like I'm in the right body, then you need to start, it's not a stop it. It's like, okay, honey, let's, think of something and put it off for a day or two so that way you can read up on it. And then that way you have a little bit more understanding for when you talk to your child. See, that's where I think we're lacking, and I should do a whole show on education and the fact that we're in the mess we're in every level because of lack of education. I'm a firm believer of that.
No, for sure.
The more you know.
Because the more you know about transgenderism, the more you know about the process, and the more you know about how doing the wrong thing can mentally really hurt for a long time your child, that you need to educate yourself. It's all about educating yourself. Would you agree?
Yeah, I agree. And it's not even understanding, because I may not understand how you feel about something, but it's respecting. So I respect who you are. I'm going to be here to support you. And maybe I don't get it because I don't feel the same feelings.
Right.
But I'm going to be here holding your hand, and we're going to learn together, and we're going to get through it together.
Because that person you created, and you're not going to, you're going to learn through
or having you doors open
or
to
her.
all those other children. They may not have a parent that they listen, that they can come to your home, and I don't know, but let's figure it out together. Let's
Empathy.
Empathy goes on.
So, so with transgenderism, there's a lot. Like I said, it's a very, very difficult subject to broach without getting a bunch of hate mail, which I'm sure I'll get. And that's fine because nobody will read it.
Yeah.
I won't. I'll just delete them.
Yeah, good.
I don't give time to hate. So, so Christine Jorgensen, look her up, watch her movie, see the celebration. because, and that's not the first, what?
Yeah, I just love how you just looked at the camera and was like, and back to Christine Jorgensen.
Well, because it started with transgenderism.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we got off on a tangent.
No, we
Yeah,
sure did.
That's okay, we always do. So,
But she also lived a long life. She
Yeah.
passed away in like the 70s or 80s.
80s,
Wow.
87 or 89.
87 or 89. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
almost to the 90s. And she lived a fabulous life.
She
Good
did.
for her.
And not because she was the first. I mean, yes, notoriety does help, but, you know, it's, kids know the difference between, first of all, fame and infamy. There is a difference. And so she lived a life, she was happy. She
was.
from what I read, she accomplished more after she did her sex reassignment surgery than she even neared beforehand. And she was happy. So, that was our Christina Jorgensen. So, let's talk about, okay, do you have something?
I do have
What do
something.
you want to talk about? Let's talk about her.
Yes. Okay. So we're going to talk about one of my favorite women in the LGBTQ. We're going to put her probably right underneath Christine Jorgensen because she wasn't one of the first, but she was also one of the first women of color to try that kind of also helped Christine Jorgensen put both of their feet in the doorway. So August 24th, 1945, the beautiful birth of Martha P. Johnson happened in Elizabeth, New York, and unfortunately, she did leave us July 6th.
Go Stonewall. She is Stonewall.
She is a badass for sure. And she passed away, unfortunately, July 6, 1992, at the wonderful age of 46 in New York, New York.
Ooh, I wonder what she passed away from so young.
The
Somewhere in
stress.
the river.
Oh.
Yes, they sure did.
So she was killed.
And that unfortunately did happen about 4 days after a very large monument that did happen. But we're going to keep it on a positive note. And we're going to talk about some of the really cool things that she did with her lifetime. And that was, she was a large part of the gay liberation. She also was a main part of the AIDS activist. And she also was a performer as well. She was drag, so she did not have the gender reassignment surgery. No. But she was a large voice of the transgender community just because
She's the voice of all of it.
She, not saying that she was like a poor person who just couldn't afford gender reassignment surgery, but talking back to Christine Jorgensen, that just wasn't a thing in the United States at the time. It wasn't really
Plus, you
popular.
don't know for a fact if she wanted it.
Exactly. Don't know if she wanted it, and also don't know if she could afford it at the time either. But Martha co-founded one of the first LGBTQ plus youth shelters in 1970 in North America, and she actually moved to New York for the first time ever in 1963, and she only had $15 and a bag of clothing. She took her name, Black Marsha, and later added Johnson because she went to this restaurant so many times, they pretty much just said, we're just going to start calling you Johnson. And the
Was it Howard Johnson's?
Probably, to be honest with you. And honestly, this is my favorite thing about Martha because this really stands for who she is as a person. And if you're wondering what the P stands for in her name, it literally stands for pay it no mind. And I
love that.
Me too. It didn't stand for Patricia or Patty or Paula. It stands for pay it no mind.
Oh my.
I did that. I did not know that. That's awesome.
And I do have a little picture of her here. I don't know if you guys will be able to see it because it is in black and white, but she is well known. So
She's
you guys
quite colorful,
probably,
too.
yes, she is. Her known staple was faux fur jewelry. She had a really big, pretty headdress with like flowers all over it, and she was just the it girl at the time for sure.
So, Johnson and Riviera, what is her first name? Sylvia Riviera. They were two big Stonewall.
At the time, they were kind of besties, but this is like one of those situations where like you think this is your girlfriend, but it's not. Frenemies, yes.
Well, most in the gay society, most gay men, drag queens are frenemies. That's the best you can get. Yes, because it's all about shade. So Martha I'm losing her name. Sylvia and is it Martha Johnson?
Yes.
Yeah. Sylvia and Martha were good friends. They are part of the big Stonewall Uprising.
Which happened on June 18th, 1969.
And I've been there. If you haven't been there, go. Although it's a tiny little bar. Have you been there?
I have not, but I've
No.
heard it's just like a little
It's a little hole in the
hole in the
wall.
wall dive.
It is.
I also
A
do
little
have a
hole in the
little
wall.
description of Stonewall here too.
Of what?
Just in case. Stonewall.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Johnson's life unfortunately changed when she found herself engaging with the resistance at the Stonewall Inn on June 28th, 1969. In the early morning hours, police raided the bar and began arresting the patrons, who most of them were gay men. Johnson and Riviera, said that right?
Yep.
Arrived at Stonewall around 2 a.m., where Johnson said later in an interview, the place was already on fire and there was already a raid in there already, and unfortunately the raids have already started. There are so many competing stories about what Johnson did during the raid of Stonewall Inn, but it is pretty clear that she was on the front lines. Johnson, like many other transgender women, felt like they had absolutely nothing to lose, and they were not only angered by the police raid, but they were also feeling oppression and fear as they experienced every day. In the wake of the raid, Johnson and Riviera led a series of protests.
Stonewall. Like you said, Sylvia, there's rumors that she wasn't there, the rumors that she was there. I've heard rumors that she's the one who locked the police in. But, so, unless you were there, I guess you don't know.
I was going to say, it's all hearsay.
It's all hearsay. I mean, we know for a fact that an uprising happened and that they locked the police in there. But I don't know exactly who did what. But if you get a chance, go. Because even though it's a tiny little hole in the wall, it is in the West Village. And there's everything else around it. That's in the LGBT community, so it's fun to go to. But don't try to get into the bar because it's so small. And when we were there, the line wrapped around the building.
Oh.
Yeah, and they don't take reservations because there's no real tables.
Right.
So, what was I going to say? So that was Stonewall.
Yes.
And before we get into the upstairs lounge, and I want to talk about it, even though it's a sad thing, because very few people have ever heard of it. I want to throw out some statistics on LGBT. First of all, it is not Gay Pride Month or Pride Month in Europe or any European country, the same as ours. I believe Spain is also in February.
It probably is.
Yeah, and all of UK is in February. The Americas, are the only ones that are in
Just always
June.
had to be different.
It was just crazy.
Time
But the one thing about the UK that I thought was interesting was they did a Section 28 that just lifted in 2003 that made any type of homosexuality or publication of homosexuality illegal.
In England?
In England, from 1988, it went into effect in 1988, and they finally got it out in 2003.
Even PDA?
Anything. Yeah. It was Section 28. It was not always upheld, but you get a ass hat in there and it'll be upheld. Yeah, in 2003 they appealed it. It was a Margaret Thatcher thing. Can you believe that? Craziness. So some of the other things were gay rights organization, Society of Human Rights, started in 1924 in the United States. That was the very first organization to protect human rights. Isn't that interesting? I thought that was in 1924. I mean, that's early, 1924.
Yeah, very early.
And also, did you know that there is homosexuality in every species on Earth, and
Yes.
Americans humans are the only ones that have a problem with it. And humans did not have a problem with it until the rise of Christianity.
Interesting.
Yep. Because and this will touch on Spain, because in Spain and different European countries, actually it was looked at as different aspects of it were looked at as a good thing. Like warriors would do things with other guys to help increase their testosterone and demeanor. They felt that by doing that, especially during the Trojan years and stuff, they would do that.
The little smirk that he probably did not mean to do, it for sure fit.
I can't. But it is the Trojan years. That's what's so crazy about it.
Do you think that's where they got the name?
Probably.
Probably. That's funny. That's funny.
That's right.
Well, think about it. The logo is like that horse.
Horse.
head.
Oh,
A
yeah.
lot of people on there. So,
Yeah.
it's funny. And then go ahead and tell me what you know about Spain. So we know that in America, gay rights are a roller coaster that has the highest hills and the lowest depths, right? Let's talk about Spain.
So I came to this country in the 90s. Gay rights, white rights. We
I
should
know.
all have rights, right?
Yeah.
What is the difference? So during the Civil War, most people didn't have rights because
Right.
we had a dictatorship.
Yeah.
But after the dictator his name will go unnamed, died, homosexuality remained illegal until 1979.
Yep.
But after he died, homosexuality was okay. I do believe that we have civil partnerships in Catalonia, which is Barcelona. It started in 1988
Yeah.
when people could get married,
Yep.
and the country was really supportive of gay couples adopting children.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
it
awesome.
actually, in 1995, 1995, which shocked me, 1995. Okay, so everybody, we still don't have a federal ban on same-sex orientation in the workplace. Discrimination on same-sex orientation in the workplace. We have state bans, but we do not have a federal ban yet. In 1995, Spain put in a federal ban on discriminating against sexual orientation. In 1995, people,
That's
I
why
mean, it's shocking.
it
They're
was
just ahead
no
of the
issue.
time. Like,
Right?
literally, they're ahead
Yeah,
of the time.
in 1979, they abolished the sodomy law.
Yeah,
Yep.
In Spain.
In Spain.
Not in the United
No.
States,
not in the United States.
because we're backwards.
Yes.
Right.
So in Spain, now those of you who don't know, the sodomy law is considered the homosexuality law. It didn't start out that way, but it ended up being spoken that way. And it is no longer, the sodomy law doesn't exist in Western states or Western civilizations anymore.
I'm not gonna say there will be people there that maybe
Well, of course, there's people everywhere.
right. However, the laws support you and
Right.
support all to have those rights.
Right.
So that's something that's I'm very proud of.
And you should be. And that's another reason to move to Spain,
There you go.
on top of the guys that live there.
And the food.
And-
the
wine.
scenery,
And the food.
wine,
guy.
And the
Everything.
food and the fact that it's just
Not
sounds like a
here.
vacation all your life until
No,
you move over
literally.
there, because the grass is never greener. There's always, your problems follow you.
Yeah, no, swear.
They follow you. So yeah, 4th century. What shocked me about Spain, because when she told me she was going to talk about the difference between Spain and America, I thought, I should probably look a little bit up just so I don't, you know what I mean?
Right.
So I thought this was interesting that Nero, the ruler of Spain, he was the first person of legal right to marry 2 men together. So the very first same-sex marriage happened in Spain under Nero.
And that would have been before the dictator
Oh, that would have
died in
been like
1975.
Nero would have been, I want to say, 3rd, way back there.
Yeah, yeah.
And then the ruler right after him, and I couldn't say his name, let alone spell it out. He also married 2 men and 2 women together.
Wow.
But then you get into the 3rd and the 4th century rulers, which is I'm going to say it wrong, Emperor Hadrian and Emperor Trajan, both had gay lovers, openly gay lovers, that they actually had to live in the harems with them. Not harems, but the rings with them,
Yeah.
however it was. It wasn't until Caesar, because of his sexual appetite and the strange things he did, that they started to close in around what he could do, because he did stupid things.
Yeah. But he was Italian.
Yes.
Caesar was.
But that's
So I just wanted to show
a
you.
lot of what happened with Italy and Spain during that
Yeah,
time
that was the same.
was the same thing, because Rome controlled it all.
Yeah.
But so Nero, and from the 1st century all the way up to the 4th century, it was looked upon in Spain as okay. It was okay. There was no difference. It was humanity.
You love who you love.
Guess what happened in the 4th century?
What happened?
Or as the 4th century started, the rise of Christianity. And so, unfortunately, the rise of Christianity throughout the world caused homosexuality to be suppressed.
The Crusades.
I do have a question for you ladies.
Yeah.
What are some things, well, since you don't have any children, my question's going to change a little bit for you. Since you have 1 child, you have multiple.
I have 2
you
boys.
Two boys, okay. So I don't know Daniel, but I know of Daniel. And what are some things that he has taught you growing up that you are thankful for about the
And-
LGBTQ?
But he's just as having friends and stuff like that.
For sure.
Out of
Because you said he had friends.
yeah,
that
I
were
have
transgender.
friends and it's kids that I met through different things
Yeah.
that they have done. What they have teach me, nothing is special other than they are just wonderful the way they are. I will not say such and such is better because is gay. No,
Sure,
he's
sure,
just
sure.
amazing. However, because he is able to be himself,
For sure.
that is why they're more special that way.
I think, yeah, from difference that your child teaches you on sexuality versus what you learned as a kid.
What I mean by that is, I
Maybe.
mean, like, let's just say hypothetically, this is just an example.
I got you.
Let's just say Daniel grew up super soft-spoken in general. He just really kept to himself, doesn't really tell secrets. His personal business is his personal opinions.
Yeah.
So let's just say hypothetically that was the case, and let's just say
He doesn't
as
say to himself.
right. So as he got older, he became super outgoing and was super comfortable, and you just didn't think that that was going to be something he was capable of until he met the friends he has now or joined the community he's in now.
I think that Daniel and Marco, both of them have been very comfortable in meeting friends. They are make them be themselves.
Sure.
Both of them. From their friends are very unique. The United Nations, and we love that way. I don't have it any other way. And I hope that because my husband and I were able to have these open arms to anyone, gave them the strength to have friends that make them even better. 'Cause
Absolutely.
You get better with the people that you surround yourself
For
with.
sure.
Right? If you want to surround yourself with people that look like you, think like you, then your world is very small. But when you open your world out, it's like, whoa, look at everything else that we can do. The food gets even better.
I
It's
know,
not- it's
yes.
just about the food, it's just it.
So I'm a little, I know Maria, I know her children, I know her husband, outside of here, and I think you were right when you said earlier, children are a product of their environment. And both Daniel and Marco are a product of
They're
Maria
beautiful
and
mother.
John's
Absolutely.
environment.
I don't know John, but you're
Which
beautiful, and they're probably
means
just
that
as
they're
beautiful.
very open
Wonderful.
children. Meaning that they love anybody regardless of who they sleep with or what they do
Absolutely.
or this or that,
Where they think
because
of.
that's what they learned. And you see people when you're watching, and I know this will get thousands of views over time on YouTube, this is what you got to do. Whether you agree with what they do in life or not, you are not there to make that decision. You are there to help them make their own.
For sure.
That's what a lot of
The
parents, I
foundation.
think, don't understand. And I can say that coming from an outsider, not being a parent, because it's easier to see the faults of somebody,
Right.
of the faults of an action that you never have done, than to, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think it's important, growing up as a gay man or a gay boy, my mother was always very open. When I told her that I liked guys, the only thing she said to me is, be safe. That was the only thing she said to me. She didn't say anything else. So that's why I was comfortable in being open. That's why your kids are comfortable in saying what they want to say and hanging out with who they want to hang out, and bringing them home to have dinner at the house and not worrying about he's wearing a dress or she's got, combat boots on or whatever.
Right. But now my question for Lisa is, before we only have like 10 minutes left or so.
No.
Oh my
If we
goodness,
go over,
it
we'll
flew
be
by.
fine. I talk a lot. I'm sorry.
So my question for you is if one of our viewers, for example, and I said this like numerous times, is interested in going into affirmations, what are some of the things that they can expect on their initial visit? Is there like people kind of already hanging
More
out in the
information,
commons
anything
area?
like that.
Or
For transparency, I haven't volunteered
Right.
a lot lately.
okay,
I was more active.
I know it's been back and forth
Yeah,
too
it
because
ebbs
of
and
life.
flows. It ebbs and flows. Well, there's actually affirmations is set up very interestingly. There's a front door that's like affirmations
Yep.
and it's glass windows and
Pride
very
this
open.
and yeah.
And then there's a back door that's a little more quiet.
sure,
So whichever door you're comfortable going in.
sure, okay.
There is a desk. When you walk in the front door, there's a desk.
It's
so
very-
you'll get greeted.
So I guess my initial
Very
question
open.
is like, let's just say, for example, someone is kind of going through a hard time and they just left home and they just got into a pretty large argument with a family member. Are they going to be walking into like a room that kind of has like music on and there's kind of people already around? Like what?
Depends on what time they walk in.
Yeah,
Okay, for sure.
depends on the
Sorry,
time
it's
of
kind of
day.
like a big question.
No,
It depends on the time of day and the,
Yeah.
like
What's going on in the shop?
Exactly.
Okay, for sure.
See, the affirmations when
very
you walk in,
welcoming.
it's a very
Can
open
you
space.
volunteer if you're not a part of the LGBTQ?
Yeah.
Okay.
She's not really, I mean,
when I first started volunteering, it was funny. One of the staff members was like, "What letter do you identify with?"
And you're like,
I was
wait a minute, I
"Do
have
I
to.
have to?"
Right. You're like, I can't just be here because I love being here.
Because I wasn't honest about my own sexuality until I started volunteering more. And, you know, I mean, I always said that I was a straight woman who didn't mind fooling around with girls.
Sure.
Right.
Well, that's, you know, but bisexual
That's not
never
really
really
straight.
fit.
But
So,
well, because I think fluidity. I think kids are now more fluid. They don't, like you said, it's not about what's here. It's about what's up here.
And I also feel like it's how people are being treated. Like, I feel like if like a preteen or like a teenager around like 16, 17 years old, if you're nice to them, dude, and you're good to them and can show them that the world is not filled with horrible people, I feel like for the younger generation, it's just like, if you're nice to me, dude, and you're good to me and you can keep me safe, I feel like that's what it is. Like, that's everyone's main goal. It's not looks anymore. It's mainly like, can you keep me safe? How comfortable do you make me feel at night? You know what I'm saying?
And kids, be thankful that, I mean, I know it's a hard world right now. And I know it's a hard world right now. But be thankful that it's this time that you're in. Because it was a lot harder back in the day.
For sure.
So much so that it was almost, people were, I mean, I'm sure people were taking their lives right and left. We didn't have social media to tell us every one of them, but you know, so
criminally prosecuted in more countries than
for sure. Yes, absolutely. Like in Jamaica, it's criminal prosecuting now. So if Steve and I went to Jamaica, we could not hold hands, or else we would be arrested.
You would go to jail.
We would go to jail because it is against the law. In some countries, you can be put to death for it. Any of the a lot of the Arabian countries, you will be put to death for it. But you know, one other thing I want to talk about, and if we go over a little bit, I'm fine with that. Are you? Okay. Because I want to talk about the upstairs lounge, and the reason I want to talk about the upstairs lounge is because I want to talk about something bad than how we have grown. We have grown. So homosexuality was considered a mental disorder up until 1973. So the upstairs lounge was a place in, it was a bar in New Orleans, and it was, listen closely, everybody. So it was a gay bar, and it had bars on the window, and it wasn't upstairs, it was downstairs. It was just called the upstairs lounge. And one night, 30 plus people in there. No, there was 60 plus people, I think, in there. There was because some survived.
It was after happy hour.
Yeah, it was after happy hour.
Whatever they called happy hour.
Yeah.
And there were so there were about 120. And
was it 120?
But some left.
Yes, and some actually got out during. But some person.
Were done, so they left.
Yeah. Some person, don't know who, decided to throw a Molotov cocktail through the front door of this place and caused the place to burn down. Now, 29 people were killed. 29 men, gay men, were killed. And the reason why a lot of people don't know about this is because they swept this under the rug.
It literally was never handled.
And so, in New Orleans, 1973, so it wasn't that long ago.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, Stonewall was a decade and a half before that. So we already knew that in I was alive in 1973. 73, we already knew that there were gay and lesbian people in the world. We already knew that there was a battle going to be starting, you know, stuff like that. And yet we still had churches and hospitals that refused to touch the dead people. They wouldn't bury them. They wouldn't do anything like that. And then they swept it on the rug because the police department, they were gay people. They didn't matter. That makes me sick to this day.
For sure. Yeah.
That even humans, people who I share this world with, and I'm sure I still share this world with, because it was only 1973, are
Devalue.
What's the word?
Devalue, like
they just devalue human life regardless because they don't understand it, and it just blows my mind.
People are 100% scared of something they've never seen before.
It's one thing for that guy to grab it because there's assholes everywhere. But for the churches and for the hospitals and for the police department not to process these poor people and then their names to disappear to history because they're embarrassed they had a gay club in their city.
I think you can find the
Makes
names
me
of the
wanna
victims on Wikipedia.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there.
I should have done them all.
I believe
and
there
read them.
was a list on there. But it's sickening. I mean, look, the government swept the whole AIDS
right under the carpet.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we keep trying to hide our are like what some people consider are dirty laundry.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I'm sorry, but what happened at the Upside Down Club, the Upstairs Club, it's all upside down. But the Upstairs Club is so egregious to me. And, you know, it's this passion you need. It's called empathy, people. And like you said, I don't care if you hate me. You should still empathize with the fact that I'm a human.
For sure, 100%.
You know what I mean? Because trust me, there's people I do not like. There's politicians I hate, but I still empathize with the fact that they breathe and bleed like I do.
100%.
Do I like them? No. Do I want them gone? Yes. But do I want them dead? No.
No, you want them on vacation someplace.
No, I want them on vacation in a steel room.
Yeah.
What saddens me the most about the Upstairs Lounge is the fact that those 29 lives are, I mean, we don't know who they were.
Right.
We don't know who they might have been.
That's such a good. I love that you said that.
They could have cured cancer.
They
They could have been president. They could have been literally anything.
And you know, we still have that stigmata in our workplace, in our government, in our politics, in everything. That it should matter what who somebody goes to bed with, as if they can do their job or not.
It's goes into the same unfortunate roster of haircuts, skin color, and if you have tattoos or not. None of those things pay anybody's bills, so why would it care?
Right.
You know what I'm
I mean?
saying?
It just throws. And I wanted to talk about the Upstairs Lounge because I feel like those 29 people do not get enough recognition.
For sure.
I just find out about that today.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer that when you talk about the dead, they come alive. And I may very well get those 29 names and mention them in our
We should do that.
in the sympathy ones we do.
Yeah.
And so because we read off sympathy cards
Oh.
from like dating all the way back to the 1800s, and we'll read
wow.
their name and when
I
they
feel
were
like it gives good
born
energy.
and stuff, and just to bring them, you know what I mean? So we may do that with the 29 people because you know what? Those 29 people had family.
They had friends.
They had friends,
lives.
they had loved ones, they had people who cared about them, they had people who they cared about.
They had
who,
things they wanted to
you know,
accomplish, timelines, marriages.
kills me. It
Life.
almost makes me want to cry.
No,
Their
for
whole
sure.
life when it was taken away.
There's a movie being premiered at Affirmations tonight, America You Kill Me, about, and it's local. It happened in Detroit. A young man walked out of a gay bar and was murdered.
Yeah.
And nothing was done about it. They didn't prosecute. Nothing. So I mean, and that was I can't remember what year that was.
Not long
It
ago.
happened. His partner, his boyfriend, is the one who made the movie.
So it wasn't long
No,
ago.
it wasn't.
Right.
Okay, so see, a movie like that should be big screen.
And
For
Matthew
sure.
Shepard.
Oh,
I
Matthew,
mean, we know
yeah.
his name.
So it tied him to a fence in the middle of a field and left him there to die. He was not dead when they left him there.
No,
He died leaving there. You know, the Mrs. Shepard, the Shepard Foundation,
Yeah.
she does great work.
Yes.
So look up the Matthew Shepard Foundation. His mother, she's a go-getter. Part of the reason we have a lot of the rights we have is the Shepard Foundation.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
Listen
awesome.
Yeah.
to the father's speech.
And that
He
wasn't
did.
that long ago.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking.
Yeah, it is
to hear
heartbreaking.
the dad's
It
speech
is.
about his
So when we sit here and we have these discussions and it's sad and we want to cry about the fact that somebody in our community is dying and then being swept under the rug. I wish I could take and have these stories, and we could have these stories about the straight society on wars and stuff like that, but not because of who they sleep with. If they, it's that whole adage where it doesn't affect me, so I don't care. Just get them out of here. We got to change that in order to change anything in this world. Don't wait for it to happen to you, and stop thinking that you're better than this. I'm referring to everybody, not them.
Pride is not used for the gay community. Pride is for all of us to be able to be our true selves, respecting others,
Right.
loving others. So when people may feel that they don't belong in this month, no, you do. As long as you're understanding and respectful of others.
Right.
We are all here together. Ally, gay, transgender, whoever we are.
Anyone.
Well, it's not. I know the argument, like, well, why can't I have white pride?
Okay.
It's not about. You didn't. If you're a white male you probably didn't have to fight for a lot of rights.
No, you didn't.
The way that a gay man did,
Or a black man.
lesbian,
Yeah.
Or anybody of any type
So-
other than white.
For sure.
So yeah,
A straight white person.
acknowledge your privilege
Yes.
and celebrate pride.
Yes. Yes.
And celebrate, they
It's
you
so
there,
true.
and you are welcome.
I'm
as
just
long
happy
as-
that I get to be alive, breathing, and just have a great, healthy life with the people that I'm in this room with.
And I want to tell you,
It
we
feels
have
great.
multiple ages here. So, I mean, she's only 24 years old. So we're getting perspective from...
And only 27.
Yep, and she's 27, and so don't move to Spain. So, she's, and then we have all different age ranges here. So it's not just the opinion of of people who were born in a certain time period. This is an opinion of all time periods.
And also, I think some adults forget what the actual meaning of an opinion is, and I will just like to recap for that for you guys.
Go ahead.
An opinion is when your opinion changes based on the information you have been given. So it's okay if you have an opinion like, I hate ducks because I think they're mean. And then you meet a duck and they're very nice and loving. It's okay to say, I think I like ducks.
Yeah.
You know
And
what
it's
I'm saying? I think I
okay
like
not
ducks.
to prosecute them then for what they used to think.
And it's okay to change your opinion and to lose the friends that you think you have. If you were scared to tell your friend group that, like, hey, one of my best friends is gay, or hey, one of my best friends is lesbian, and you're scared, those are not your friends.
Nope.
If you're scared to tell them about another person who you care about,
There's one more thing I got to talk about because I actually sent an advertisement out about it, and that's the pink triangle.
Yes.
Okay, so I talked about the pink triangle. I talked about the history of the pink triangle, and the pink triangle is a symbol of gay pride, of being ownership of something that was tragic. So World War II, the pink triangle came out in 1930. It was used prior to World War II by Hitler and the Nazis. But the Nazis didn't really start out until a little bit later. But Hitler started with the star for the Jewish, and the pink triangle was attached to people who were gay, and so it was looked at upon segregation purposes, right? One was sent to one camp, one was sent to another camp, and so forth and so forth and so forth. So the Gay Society decided that we're going to take something bad, something that denotes a negative, and turn it positive. So I think it was in the 60s they started using the pink triangle as a positive. They started putting it on their shirts. They started getting stickers of it and stuff like that. And then you started to see a huge insurgence of the pink triangle in the 80s, 70s and 80s. We don't see it as much today because we go more based on the flag than we do the pink triangle, but you will still see it. So when you see a pink triangle, it means that we took something from World War II that a dictator, a horrifying dictator, mass murderer, and we tried to take something that he tried to stigmatize us with, and that is why I believe that the Star of David is also used.
Yeah.
And it to pull it back in and re-own it. And so I think we were successful with that. So when you look at the pink triangle, you look at it through the eyes of the same eyes you look at the Star of David. Because it is something that we took back.
Yeah.
So do you have to be gay to do it? No. Everybody should be dealing with pink triangles because pink triangles shows that we fight back and turn something that is gross into something that's beautiful. So I had to mention that.
Yes.
But, so I had a cool, did you know? Are we way over? No. We're my mom's probably clear. So the pride flag, do you know what the colors stand for?
No, but you cannot tell us.
That's okay, I didn't either. So, so the red stands for life. So the pride flag's right up there, you can see it. So the red stands for life. The orange stands for healing. The yellow stands for sun. The green stands for nature. The blue stands for harmony. And the purple stands for soul. Now, we are a vintage and antique store and oddity company. So the flag that you see up there is the original pride flag. The new pride flag has the black triangle in it. And that denotes, what is black? The pan?
Isn't it bears?
No,
Or
bears
no,
are brown.
brown.
So it'll have black, brown, blue, and blue is transgender. Okay, so it's going to throw me off because there's a lot of different.
Is the triangle you're talking about?
Well, there's
You
the
want
triangle that
that?
goes sideways.
That's the transgender.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the colors in there. So we have the stripes, and then it's got a
The
angle
yeah.
that goes
Yep.
this way, and it's black, blue, white, and it's blue is transgender. Black might be. I'm not sure. I'll have to figure that out, but I'll post it up there. But they added that. I want to say maybe 10 years ago, because of the pronouns. And so each color depicts a certain pronoun. So we're going to have somebody here who is going to go through pronouns with us. And how do you guys feel? One other question I want to talk about is pronouns when we are hit, because we run into problems here. And I have friends who are older that run into problems. Her and I have discussed this at length. We are more than happy to refer to somebody in whatever pronoun they choose to be. Steve and I are a couple. We are more than happy to treat you the way you want to be treated and to call you what you want to be called.
But we are not
But
mind
I am
readers.
tired. I am tired of being yelled at
Yes.
because I don't know it without realizing it.
Right.
Okay, so the thing is when I think anybody, if somebody looks like somebody, and we got to learn to maybe rethink the way because that's something we bred into us when we automatically say she, he, whatever, and maybe we should. I've come to the term, well, how you guys doing?
I
Do you know what
use
I mean?
folks.
Hey, folks.
Folks.
I use the word folks too.
They is my default pronoun, and then I say, like, I was talking to a parent of a child, and I said, oh, they are doing such and such. And the parent said, yeah, he really likes to do that. So,
Until
yeah,
then you can
I
use
use
he after.
they, folks.
Right. So
Hey.
I have come to where when people walk through that door, I say, hey, folks, how you doing? Because folks means people. But you know what? We sometimes slip. Just like sometimes I had a conversation with a woman who's in her 70s. She went into a store, and the woman behind the counter, was nice at first and stuff, and she picked out what she wanted, and she came up, and another customer came in, and they were talking, and she said, well, the lady behind the counter is going to be, and this girl read her to filth.
Like literally,
Like made her cry.
this poor old lady.
Because
Wait, the person behind the counter
Yeah.
made the
Yes.
old lady.
Yeah.
Oh no.
made her cry,
No.
told her that it was people like her that is causing the divide because they are not using the words they, them. What you guys don't seem to understand is when you're dealing with somebody who is over the age of 60, they don't understand. They don't know that.
They probably don't even look at the
They
TV.
understand. They're not stupid. They understand what you're doing, but you got to tell them.
Yeah,
Well,
no.
you have educate them.
Educate them, but not
Not
meanly.
in a mean way.
But
I mean,
that's
she made her
why.
cry.
That's why, unfortunately, a lot of issues that we have today are a thing, because instead of just politely educating somebody on something that they don't know, someone just bullies them into thinking that they know it. And no, if you bully somebody, they're not going to want to, put in the effort. They're just going to feel really bad about it and probably never think about that situation ever again. For example, one of my best friends, Natalie, she probably is watching the show right now. Her pronouns are she and her. She doesn't look at me and say that she identifies as a female, but when I look at her and say, "Hey, girl, what's up?" Like, she knows that that's just means she's okay with that.
You're not calling her girl. That's a phrase.
Exactly, that's just like a phrase. But I also have, at one point in my life, had a friend who my entire life identified one way, and then I didn't speak to them for a long time. And then when I came back in contact with them,
They changed their identity.
yes, but I can visibly see that you changed your identity. But if your pronouns are different, just let me know. I have absolutely no problem. It's not an issue, and I don't have to change how I speak to you, but I want to respect you, and I want to make sure that you know that I care.
Most
so you
people
have to tell
will,
me.
and most people will want to respect you, so they just need to know what it is. I mean, this poor woman does not go back to this place. She used to go there all the time.
That's unfortunate.
And now she won't go there because she's afraid. Not physically afraid. She's just afraid that she's going to slip and say the wrong thing and get screamed at again and stuff like that. So I think we need to educate both levels.
Educate, love your neighbor,
And just tell us. If we call you the wrong pronoun, say, "Oh, honey, I'm a they." I have people here do that. This guy comes in, he's a good-looking guy, clearly a man. And I said, and I referred to him,
I love
the
that.
tall guy.
Yeah, with the amazing.
Yeah.
He wears an amazing one's
like
army
tunics and stuff.
like zip up
but he's clearly a guy.
It's
I mean, looks like a guy. And so, and I referred to, I know. She's like, I'll be waiting. And, you know, I referred to him as he, to Steve. Oh, it's him over here. And he goes, oh, we prefer they, them, but either is okay.
And that's all it took.
And I was
He
like,
uses a royal we.
Uh-huh.
He uses a royal we. We prefer.
Yeah. And so
awesome.
he goes, we prefer they, them. And I said, oh, okay, then I'll do that. He goes, but that's okay. I mean, that was, and I'm like, no, because that's what you prefer. That's what I'll tell you. That's what I'll call you from now on.
But he educated you
Right.
on how to
Didn't make you
see
feel
him without reading you the riot.
Right. And if you don't think that you should be able to, and this is where I think the break on that is those people who do not feel that there is more than two genders. And they're out there. Mm-hmm. They're stupid, and I'm sorry I just said that out loud, but they are, because if you look at the Native American society, if you look at the all the ancient societies, there's multiple genders. Mm-hmm. I mean, the Native American society, I shouldn't say stupid. I probably just lost it.
Uneducated.
Yeah. But because that's just me being mean to them. So, but the Native American have 5.
If we have some viewers,
and one of them is they, them.
If we have some viewers who are a little bit, not confused, but are a little bit stumped.
I get passionate, I'm sorry.
Stumped on how they can correctly use the pronouns they, them, if you don't know somebody's pronouns. For example, I ask Lisa, oh, Lisa, did they drop the mail off today? She would probably look at me and say, no, I don't think they came yet. Boom. There
because
you go.
You don't know who's going to show up.
I have a different mail person every day.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know. They just dropped it off.
I've called somebody they before, and they're like, I'm a she.
Well, I also would have felt like that's like a universal word.
Yes. Thank you for telling me how to see you.
No, for sure.
I thought I was being progressive.
Yeah. But my default is they, and then I will let someone tell me this is how I want to be seen.
Right.
You can also ask.
But tell. We just ask that you tell.
You can also
it's
ask.
Not written here. We can't see it.
I recently just
Sometimes
met.
we can't even understand. I mean, it could be either.
They were going to be on the show today too.
One of them.
Yeah, but she just unfortunately didn't have a ride.
Yeah.
And I actually just met her a few days ago.
And she went as they them, right?
Actually, I asked how Alicia felt.
Oh,
I said I just want. Yeah, I said, what are your pronouns, just so for future reference I know how to speak about you. And she literally looked at me and said, whatever. They, them, he, she, they, we, you, I, whatever.
So the one thing is, we're all different.
But then she did look at me and thank me for that instead of just assuming. You know, I just wanted to make sure.
We're all different. We got to celebrate that difference.
Absolutely.
You know, I'm excited because I'm good friends with, Maria and her family, and she's from Spain, and, I'm always asking her, tell me about this, tell me about that, tell me about this, because I've always wanted to go to Spain. You know, if it was just somebody who was just the same thing as me, how boring.
Right. Well, I won't be here.
Oh, yeah.
If you were just like me, that's fine.
I know. So, and I haven't seen her in forever, and I'm so happy.
It's been a while.
And y'all see me every Tuesday, so there's nothing.
Me too. So, we just ask that as, when you come anywhere, when you deal with anyone, and they refer to you as the wrong pronoun, to politely tell them. Right. If they give you issue, then screw them.
For sure.
They're being assholes,
Literally.
and you don't need them in your life anyways. But you still want to respect them on a human basis, so don't go off on them. Sure. Just remove yourself from the situation, or politely tell them to remove themselves. Any last thoughts on the LGBTQ and Pride? It went a lot quicker than I thought it was going to.
As you're talking, the only thing that comes to mind is the platinum rule. Treat others as they want to be treated. Yeah. Not like you want to be treated. No. Treat others as they want to be treated. And if we all take a moment to just do that, we'll be in a better place.
Right.
Absolutely.
And remember, everybody, it doesn't matter who somebody sleeps with or who somebody spends their time with. It does not affect how they do their work.
For sure.
It does not affect how they act during their day. It's just like everybody else.
Right. Yep.
So I don't know what the big deal is. It's just people wanting to control other people.
And have an opinion and be right.
I had a very good friend in the Cincinnati area who told me, he shared, when he came out to his parents, his father went to the grandmother. So the father went to his mother and said, what am I going to do? How am I going to deal with this? And the grandmother looked at the father and said, what does it matter? All you got to do is love him.
That's it.
And that has stuck with me for all these years, because all you got to do is love people.
Right.
Yeah.
See, I think a parent's job, and like I said, I'm not a parent, so I know there's a lot more involved in what I'm about to say, and that it goes off in different directions, but just remember it's about what you teach your child. I mean, nobody has systematic anything the day they're born.
No.
Again, you're a product in your own environment. If you're around closed-minded, hateful people,
You are born
unfortunately,
gay,
will
you
have
are not
those
born
traits.
hateful.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There is no such thing as being born hateful. Hate is learned.
Yeah.
And if we are able to teach our children hate, then we can teach our children everything else.
For sure.
Love.
Say that
You
again.
know? And so when you sit there and, you look at your kids or you look at anyone, and it's not just about kids, it's about adults, it's about everybody. Let's not lose the empathy we have for each other.
Absolutely.
Let's not lose the empathy we have even if we hate the person. Because it's just going to get worse.
For sure.
Right.
For sure.
And I hope to hell it doesn't get worse, like, in the next couple of years.
I trying to remember there's more people.
We'll all
It's
move.
hard.
We'll all move to your
Really?
house in Spain.
Let's
Spain.
go. Let's go.
We'll all live in Madrid.
There you go.
That'd be awesome.
But
We appreciate the viewers. Yes,
thank
we
you
appreciate
so
you
much.
being
Thank
here
you.
and just really giving us an
And
insight.
so this will be this is live on Facebook and Instagram. It will be on our
Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube page by tomorrow.
YouTube page tomorrow.
Okay.
Oh, good.
And why?
Because now I get to watch it.
Because now I get to watch myself.
Do you not have Facebook?
I do.
Oh, you can watch
It's just
it.
cool to watch it on YouTube.
Oh yeah,
I'm
yeah.
just going to critique myself.
And then I'll send you both links.
Thank you.
Do it. But thank you so much for joining. At least I'm so happy to see you. I know Steve was bummed that he wasn't able to be here.
Well, you can see her later.
But thank you guys for watching. And Maria, let's make plans for dinner.
Very good.
So, anything else?
Like, comment, subscribe, and share. And maybe if you guys are bored, comment your favorite LGBTQ person down below.
Yep. And next week we will not be here. We are closed on Tuesday. So enjoy the week without us. And we will be back the following Tuesday, which I believe is the 11th.
Yes.
And it will be the 70s, and we will be dressed as the 70s, and we will have the bubble gunner outside.
You're going to wear a diaper because you were born in the 70s.
I was born in 70.
You're so funny.
70.
They do make diapers.
Can you wear a diaper? That'd be so funny.
That's a different show.
That's a different.
Yeah, he's like, this is
That's
after hours.
after
you know what I'm
hours.
saying?
That's an after hours
stuff.
show.
Yeah, right.
That's a whole nother. That's a whole nother show.
Now you really lost
I know. Now everybody jumped off. But 70, we'll have the bubble gunner here.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. So
And the
make sure you
bubble
catch us
gunner,
for that.
yes, the bubble gunner. You've seen him on our site, the van. We're going to be talking about it and in the 70s garb, and Dave's going to be dressed in 70s.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
So,
So not this Tuesday, but
Yep.
next Tuesday. Be there, be square.
Yep. Thank you guys so much, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Up
Okay.
top, and Facebook is on the bottom.
Yeah.
Bye. Other side, silly.